I'd like to spend a little time talking about what I touched on earlier, was the significance and the importance of trying to fully utilize the ISS over the next 10 years. You know, everyone knows that this is an extraordinary achievement that we've accomplished with ISS, both technologically, geopolitically, engineering, technology-wise. I mean, it's just nothing you could point to and say, we didn't quite get there. We've done more with Space Station in terms of building an international platform in low Earth orbit and tackling problems along the way to create the magnificent spacecraft that's in low Earth orbit today. And by any measure, it's a fantastic feat. And it's virtually complete, and so it's time for us to focus on utilizing ISS to its greatest potential. And in doing that, I believe we will ensure our ability to explore. And in my mind, the thought process goes a little bit like this: if you prove to the world that you spent tens of millions of dollars on a spacecraft, and you fully utilize it the way you said, and you accomplished objectives, and you learned things you hadn't learned before and you couldn't learn, then you will get the opportunity. You will prove to the world that their investment was worthwhile and is in fact their investment, and that when we say we're off to go do something, that we can actually accomplish that objective. And to me, that's incredibly important for our well-being for the future and our ability to do exploration. So ISS is there. It takes, in my mind, three major capabilities, if you will, in order to do robust utilization of ISS. The first is having robust transportation. You've heard the partners talk about their individual vehicles. I expect or hope Alexei will touch on his. The Russians, of course, provide the Progress and Soyuz vehicles, highly reliable. You can set your watch to their launch dates. It's very, very important to be there when you say you're going to be there and have a regular train of flights, and that's done day in and day out by our Russian colleagues. The HTV vehicle, flying an H-2B booster, has unique capabilities. It's going to be one of the few spacecraft, in fact, it'll be the only one flying for a little while till our commercial partners show up, that can carry rack-sized payloads. And we don't expect to fly too many racks to ISS, but we will expect to fly some occasionally, and also have to perhaps dispose of some, and we'll actually use that capability on HTV-2. It can also do external cargo capability, which, as you know, is going to be very important to us. And then we have an automated transfer vehicle, which can supply dry cargo and also propellant. It'll be the only USOS capability to transfer propellant to the ISS, which we have an obligation for, since we're a very large part of the overall International Space Station. Of course, we do have the shuttle, and it is going to retire. And as much as we prefer not to see it go, there are systems being brought online to replace the logistics capability. You can't really do what shuttle does, but assembly is complete, and that clearly was one of its strengths. And so the two systems being built by SpaceX and Orbital are well on their way. We'll have some challenges getting them launched, just like any vehicle, but they will be there. And if you look at the amount of upmass we procured, we're going to have plenty of upmass to do not only what we need in terms of logistics for the vehicle and the crew, but also the research that we funded, and also additional research that would come along, hopefully in the form of National Lab or something along those lines. The second item would be resources, and I'm sure all of you guys took copious notes from Gerst's talk. He showed you all the resources of ISS, so I'm not going to go through those again, except the crew time is one of them, and that is in good supply. It's not in great supply, it's in good supply. I think as we get past the point, believe it or not, as we get past the point where we can have a logistics train that's constant, so we get the SpaceX and Orbital flights flying regularly, I think at that point we can start relieving ourselves of the on-orbit stowage that we have today. We pre-position quite a bit of hardware in the event that we don't have a regular logistics train, and this in turn causes crew time impacts, as we have to go fish around for items by looking underneath all the spares and the food and all the things that we've stored on orbit to give us some some ability to stand the gap from when shuttles stop flying to when our commercial vehicles are available. And so that is challenging to us today, and I think it'll get better as the years progress and our logistics train comes online. And finally, the research infrastructure is in place. And by any measure, Gersh talked about it, you're going to hear a lot about this today. We have enormous facilities on board. We have multi-use racks, we have human research racks, we have freezers that can go anywhere from minus 183 degrees C to cozy incubator type temperatures. We have glove boxes. It just goes on and on and on and on. The capability we have both inside and outside space station. And so we're very robust in that respect. And one area that we don't talk, I won't say we don't talk too much about, I don't see us emphasizing enough is the external capability. Gersh talked about it as well. You know, ISS is not the perfect Earth research platform. That's a given. It doesn't, it'd been much better if we launched it to a polar orbit, although I can't imagine the challenges that would have for us. But anyway, but it does cover 95% of the human population. And given the fact that it provides power and data and all the things that any satellite that's got to fly has to bring with it, it seems to me that it would be a good platform for both Earth research and space research as well. So we have the capabilities in place. Yeah, we have some challenges to get from retiring shuttle to getting our commercial guys flying regularly. And in fact, we find that we're in a promising period in terms of ability. In other words, we have more ability on board ISS today than we can utilize. And more promising still, of course, is we've been given 5 more years to utilize ISS. And so all these things line up to be in our favor. But I'm afraid that if we don't realize this opportunity, 10 years will pass and we will lose ISS. We won't be given the opportunity to continue to fly it. And to me, this vehicle is really required for us to do exploration. So what we need to do is we need to take the energy, the creativity, the resources, and take the same oomph that we put into building this partnership first, which was a very challenging feat in its own right before we ever had any partner to talk to, and then to build the space station and assemble the space station like we did, and to tackle the problems we've tackled on orbit. Time and time again, we need to take that energy and fold that into our reaching out and explaining what ISS is to the greater community. Outside of this group, we talk to ourselves all the time. We've got to get out of our 4 walls. We need to reach out to the other communities, and we need to help them understand what ISS can do for them. I'd like ISS to become sort of like the library. When you go into any city and you read library on the side of the building, you know exactly what that can do for you. You know, when you walk in, you get the books you want, research, any kind of things you want to do, but you know exactly what that thing will give to you and why it's beneficial to you. You know it'll save you money, you know it's ready to reference, all those sorts of things. That's what ISS needs to become to the greater community. Again, outside of us, we need to talk about that. We all have ideas on how to utilize it, but we can't fund enough of that research. There's just not enough money to do all the fun things we'd like to do. But if you reach out, not only will we find more uses of ISS, but I think it will help us realize the dream and the ultimate potential of ISS. And if we can keep ISS alive, and we can get ISS beyond 2020, and I believe the systems will be able to live much longer than that, I think we will have the toehold we need for exploration, and we will be allowed to explore. So I encourage us all to really focus these next couple of days on the importance of understanding what the capabilities are and how we can encourage others to utilize the system. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mike.